Hello guys, welcome back to Writer's Tale, The Last Adventurers. This is the 8th story in the series. So this is Prevention Day. So where are we at in this one? So we're in Japan, 1923. I think it's called Yokohama, 1923. The day of the Great Kantõ earthquake. So, interesting. So that's like it's a bit of a strange event that's never been really covered. So it's applied here. It's just a simple story, really, to be honest. The protagonists end up in Japan in Yokohama in 1923, unaware of the earthquake, because they're unsure about Earth's history. So, eruption started, and it's getting to a bit of a doomsday element, really, to it. It's like it's Yokohama's going to be heavily threatened, of course, by the earthquake, and everyone's fleeing. Everyone's in severe panic, just fleeing for the hills, just trying to get away from, from the tremors and everything else. While on the other side of the story is a guy called Kantõ, a fisherman who is basically fishing, but ends up being dragged into the river, and has been taken as a host to this cybernetic seaweed thing, of course, or seaweed mixed with cybernetics, that apparently it's sort of been around and been polluting the river, and it emerges and slowly transforms into a very what do you call it? A very some sort of mechanical seaweed humanoid creature, very much, with some built-in powers, like somehow you can switch to a few different weapons. Of course, it's constantly rebuilding himself. Like he's been upgraded very much, with a mixture of seaweed and also the cybernetic implants as well. That are slowly being implanted inside him, trying to turn him up, actually just take over him, really. But one main goal of him is he knows that the earthquake is happening, and he realizes his daughter decides to save her, really. I mean, the main idea is just to save her before the earthquake tends to happen. Well, before she gets killed or crushed, really. That's the thing. And really, it is just it's basically like that, really. So, father to daughter tends to save, save their own daughter, really, because of the whole crash, really. So, yes, yeah, that's really the story, of course. But also, the civilians see him as a threat, really. To be, he's this horrible hulking monster, this beast of something, of course, and also the protagonists themselves are sort of interlinked, they're basically trying to, in a way, they're trying to stop Kantõ, really, or what's left of him, really. But there's also the thing, of course, trying to save the daughter as well at this point, and it's like, yeah, it's a bit of a strange turning point for this, really. This monster's looking for a girl. It's a family, for family. It's just like that. Also, the earthquake is happening, and that's really what to expect from Prevention Day, So there is some really. Let's go for the backstory. So the backstory to do with Prevention Day. Well, this is actually newly written. It's not a fan story that has never been conceived or whatever. It was a story because I wanted to look for some interesting historical events that had never been really tampered with or sinned with or heard of, really. And I found this one. See, is there anything ever happened to Japan? And I found something about the Great Kantõ earthquake. So I thought, interesting idea. There was a trilogy planned for the original version of it. There was original trilogy, because it started with Revolt of 1857 to do with the unity of India in 1857. The second one that's never been, I actually discarded, which was something called Boxer Uprising, and that was set in China in 1900 during the Boxer Rebellion. So sensitive theme, and also this one. So, in Prevention Day. So Boxer Uprising and Prevention Day were sort of the you know, these sort of newly written ones. But Boxer Uprising, I think the original outline for that one was that they end up doing the rebellion, and you know, there was a shapeshifter, you know, disguised himself as one of the soldiers, really, during that time period. But also the shapeshifter himself has been hunted by another, like assassin very much, and like a cat and mouse thing goes on in the story. But I never got really fully fledged with that one, unfortunately, so I decided to discard it really in favour of another one. So it would have gone, you know, Britain 89 AD, Blacklight, Revolt of 1857, Feast of 7, Boxer Uprising, Pentagram, Terror's Cradle, Brain Dead, Prevention Day. So that's basically was one of the main things really with them, you know, with them, those early parts of the stories really. There are quite a few other stories I never have actually discarded entirely. We'll get to them eventually at some point. But this one actually I've written, it was never part of a fan story, heavily inspired by Tetsu Iron Man as well, if you've ever seen that film. Jeez, that is something, that's a weird film that is, but it's very much came from that, of course. And, you know, for the body horror seaweed of Kantõ's transformation, you know, as he's been, you know, succumbed to this parasite, where you know, cybernetic seaweed parasite. And yeah, and it's basically called, well, I don't know where the father and daughter really came from, but it's all stuck really, so it came from there. Yeah, pretty good, interesting idea. This was, and also one thing that came out. Well, the thing about the historical stories. Well, the three of them I previously mentioned, the one that was discarded. I was very I remember seeing. Well, there was a review of the Doctor Who New Adventures novel White Darkness by David A. McKenty, but which the person who did the review called Greg Poparina, great YouTuber. If you're into literature, just try and look him up. Pretty interesting. They did mention that some, you know, stories that were not really set in like real parts of the Europe, like My Darkness is in Haiti in 1915. You know, whereas, you know, if you look at all the other stories, like especially like in New Who as well, it's mainly saying like, you know, you have like stuff in like in parts in Europe, Britain, and America as well. You know, you don't have them in like Caribbean countries or anything like that. You know, there's nothing that sort of thing really. So I decided, you know, that was one decision. Like, so, you know, let's broaden the scope really of what countries to go for. You know, obviously we've got India in the third story. You know, in the second story we go to China, and this one we go to Japan. So I really felt like, you know, it's a bit of interesting change. Go to different places I ain't never been before. Like, even go far, you know, don't go Eurocentric, don't go British-centric, and don't go American-centric. Try and put, you know, you can probably say a story in Zanzibar, whatever, you know, or South Africa, Cape Town, whatever you think, you know, or Iceland, you know, that'll be really interesting, you know, because they don't really seem to do that now. They always said, you know, oh, we're on Earth, we're in the Victorian era, we're in, you know, in the 1960s in America, you know, 1950s Alabama. You know, we're in, you know, Lancashire, 18th century. We're in France during the Second World War. We're in whatever, you know. You just don't get that anymore, really, you know. Although you did, actually, with Demons of the Punjab, with India, of course. But, in a way, it seems to be more relevant. I mean, that's just a blip, really, to be honest. You know, and it's like... So that's what I felt like writing these stories. So writing some of these stories, of course, I mean, some countries that have been tampered before in the history of Who. So I thought, yes, this might be a good idea to do it. Actually, with Japan, there was the rumour of no doors. That was set in Japan in the 16th century. You know, this is set in the sort of early 20s, really. So fair enough. So that's Prevention Day. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I'll see you for the next video. Bye bye.